I'm going to go first here to Infinite Umbra. Umbra, I know that you have a lot to say. So, of course, some of the topics that we were originally going to get to, we'll talk about Marathon at some point, probably by the end of the week, because I still have a lot to say. But we're already at the 49-minute mark, and that's because, this is a conversational podcast, and sometimes we just go off the rails, and what happened today was worthy of a conversation. But I want to hear your thoughts, because, again, you said you have over 100 hours playing this game. And this is not surprising. This is very much an Umbra and Boom kind of a game. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things to find. Like for me personally, I am missing about 100 floofs for that 100-point achievement. I have 86 of the 108, I think it is, readables, they call them. They're like, things you could find in the world. So I'm a little short on that. I'm missing, I think, one or two of the tins that that you pop off, and that's usually 5 of the floofs underneath that. Yeah. I need 1 or 2. So I'm gonna get the 1,000, but I went back to playing Call of Duty. I know you got 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements after 100 hours. I want to get your hot takes, because there has been a lot of talk in this game. This game, make no mistake, folks, is a masterclass release. It absolutely is, in every form or fashion. Yes, it does have some issues. It's not perfect. No one ever suggested that it was. I don't think it has to be. Again, for me, I wish the platform would have been, in some instances, a little bit better. And the combat, and it's not passable. The combat is good. Combat's just not great. And, listen, it is what it is. Let's get your thoughts on, bro.
You hit it right on the head. And the thing that bothers me is that people keep focusing only on combat. And I'm like, so even before I got a chance to get my hands on it, it was like, the combat is, you hear certain people, I'm Boom, in your honor and respect of your show, I won't name them, but they were like, the combat is this and that. It wasn't 100 hours though, by the way. P-Road, it was 100 hours. Boom, you probably saw me talking about for Assassin's Creed. This,
okay, maybe that's why I got it wrong. Okay,
yeah, no, for this, to clarify, I dozed off a few times because from work, so I was tired playing it, so I dozed off. So the game counter was still going, and it wasn't because of the game, because the game had me locked in. Just to clarify, because people are like, you went to sleep on it, so you must not. No, I was tired, trust me. But I dozed off a few times, and I played through it technically twice. So I beat it technically twice, because I played through it, and then after I got so far in, I went back and replayed everything again to collect everything. So I played through each mission twice, some 3 times, because of chapter 11. Oh boy, chapter 11 had me, man. That got me good.
And you know what's interesting? Yeah. I don't mean to interject. First of all, shout out to Paris Lily in the chat.
What's
he
up,
says, Paris, he said, what does he say here? It's me. It's me. Same.
Oh, no. I didn't even see that. No, it's not you, Paris. No, it's not you, brother. It's not you. Matter of fact, Paris, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, we'll get Paris.
Paris always jumps in when people start talking stuff. Then Paris show up like, "What you say about me?" Paris
he said he's always lurking, which is not surprising. Lurking, I actually thought he was, he's going to be getting hands on with the Switch too.
Yeah,
so I thought that's what he might be doing. But so, Paris, I'm going to send you a link if you want to jump and give us your thoughts. But interestingly enough,
I love the Paris on it, but I didn't actually see his review on it. I didn't hear his thoughts on it.
I saw the video review that he did with Danny and Rihanna, in some instances was like had a hard time getting it out. Like some of the stuff hit her like super, super deep, because obviously she's a mom now, and there were some stories here that are like, look, I'm going to say this, and I want to I'm going to send the link to Paris, get him in here for a few if he has the time. But I want to hand the mics off, of course, back to Umbra, and then get Jamie's point of view. But I do want to say this: you had a emotional response for a specific chapter. Now, again, I don't name names for the a-holes. And I also don't name names of other content creators that I've personally spoken to on a situation like this, simply because it's private. And I spoke to several content creators, and we were all talking like men, having these emotional responses about specific chapters. See, for me, because of my relationship, not with my brother, Neo Mental, my blood brother, chapter 2 hit me like in a way where just talking about it now, like I get that kind of like lump in my throat kind of a situation. And I don't mind being transparent. And that hit me super hard. It hit me hard at the event, which I kind of had to hold it back. And it hit me hard when I was talking about it during the review. Like I had to really, I'm solo, so I gotta man up, if you will, and not cry on camera. But for a couple of other content creators, like specifically the 12th chapter hit one of my, I consider him to be a brother, the extension of my family, like super, like to the point of tears.
Yeah.
And there was another one that talked about chapter 7. So, I mean, it's a few in here, man, that hit you super hard. Please, by all means, continue.
It's something to be said. He's looking for the link. Boom.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him. Oh, okay. Get him over there right now. Yeah,
it's something to be said, and I did. Black John. Yeah, I got to man it up. I had a thug tear or two. Listen, chapter 11 that got me the hardest, but other chapters did get me emotional. But 11, I'm not even ashamed to say it. I'm a grown man. I shed tears for chapter 11. Dude, chapter 11 hits home so much for.
Yep.
I can't say much because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I want you to fully play this. Please do not look it up. Do not have anybody talk to you about it. Don't even look at the lore, because it, as I was just telling brother in the chat, Broke Boy Inside, Broke Boy Lewis, because the lore thing will kind of give you the end of the chapter stupidly. I don't know why they did that, but they need to patch that out. It will show you once you meet the character of that level, whatever.
Yep.
It'll show you like, oh, it's like, why did you put that in here at this point? When it played, I had to stop it. I'm like, oh, duh, I already knew, because I put 2 and 2 together, but it's like, why would you put that?
You didn't want to know, is what basically, yeah.
To get away from that though, chapter 11 had me shedding grown man tears, and it's such a powerful throughout the whole. Okay, let me try to organize my thoughts, because I got so much running through my head at once. Let me say it in order. I guess I can put it. People made a lot of complaints about the combat. The combat is good, and I made the mention on the Infinite podcast this past week where I said, listen, the combat isn't like setting a new standard. It's not, right? It's not setting any new standard. The traversal is not setting a new standard. Or the platforming is not like, oh man, they did this great cool new thing. Like, no, it's the standard fare that you'll get from a standard platformer, and that is not a bad thing. That's the problem I have with some of the reviewers, where they put such an emphasis on the combat and traversals. Like, what did you need them to do here? Because again, I made this statement before on here, and I'll make it again. I do not need a game to set a new standard for me to like it or enjoy it. I think that's a ridiculous ask, because there's nothing new under the sun, and especially for gaming, it's increasingly hard to have something brand new that just, oh man, they just did this. They just basically created sliced bread. I don't need that. Give me a competent game where it has competent combat, competent traversal, et cetera, et cetera. Now, it's not flawless what they did in here. There are some moments where, until you get the double dash, if you will, because you get that, and that's not a spoiler. You should expect that in any platformer type game.
Yeah, you get that you get that super early though.
You can, as long as you get those floofs, which is the game's currency for abilities, by the way. Yeah. For those who are wondering what's a floof, and but the thing is like, until you get that, some of the dash mechanics felt a little off. And to me, at times, I felt like I should have dodged that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
When you get the double dash, it solves that problem immediately. So I think that's part of the design that it was that way, but maybe they might need to tweak it a bit. But combat is not the main thing. The story, the characters, the lore, and the music. And I hate to sound like some type of artsy fartsy guy, but no, a lot of times we ignore these things because we're like, okay, we're playing through this or whatever, we're experiencing this, and we don't take hold to the OST. Some people do, but a lot of people don't really pay attention to it. Even in movies, we don't tend to kind of pay attention to that, but it carries so much more weight when you have a proper OST in a scene, right? And you don't notice it until it's not there. This game complements the music, rather complements this game so much in those moments, because each boss encounter that you'll come across has a specifically rather crafted song for that boss, and it is so well done. I was sitting there humming the tunes and singing it myself, especially chapter 11's. I was sitting here and it had man tears coming down my eyes singing it with them at the end of that chapter. I'm not joking with you. I sound like a cornball saying it now, but when you play it, you will see what I mean.
This game hits you in the feel. Look, I said this, and I said it on Friday. I made a video out of it. I had a bit of a rant. I don't like to rant because I find it to be not the content my audience wants to hear, right? And again, I'm entitled to my opinion, but I usually keep it to myself. I try to do a good job of, separating, getting emotionally involved in a conversation and having a podcast. I'm here to tell you right now that, and I mean this, if you consider yourself to be a human, an actual human being, and you are not moved by any of these stories, then I don't know if you actually are. Because I'm not saying that you should care about everyone else's culture or hardships, but there are certain times, there are certain things that are done in games, in film, in books, in writing, that when you read it, see it, and be a part of it, if it's not hitting you, I maybe you're just a completely,
it might have turned a bit cold, right? And like this, I want to lay this part out before I let Jamie and Paris go. But just to say, I was talking to Lucius again on this one too, and he was like, what it got him is that this should connect with people just on a human level. And I agree with him there, because even though a lot of it ties directly to my lineage, right? It does. And they don't they don't like dance around it, which I like. They go straight forward saying, hey, this is that. I'm not going to speak on the specifics. So I want you all to experience that. But on a human level, you should be able to connect with what's going on in this game. You know what I mean? It's not just, it's just about black people or nothing, anything like that. There are some white characters too, but just to be fair.
Yeah.
But there are moments, specifically chapter 11, which is more tuned to my, lineage. But on a human level, you should be able to receive that, I would say, and I agree with Lucius on that. You really should. And I just want to compliment Compulsion on properly telling that story and keeping a narrative wound even beyond that still extends while connecting all these different parts of the lore. And I was talking, just to throw this last part, I was talking to Nerds and Other Legends earlier before I jumped in, and he was telling me he had bought a book and because of the lore in this, and he wanted to learn more. So like when you have something, a media that really pulls you in to where you want to learn more about the mythology, that tells me that they did a good job, right? And I noticed that for other games I've been in, we're always learning about the Greek mythology, Rome, all these other things, Norse mythology, right? We always learning about those different mythologies in media. It's often always put out there. You don't really get a lot, at least in the Southern culture, lore, stuff like that. So
there are not many games like this, dude.
Not at all. I can't think of any game that does anything like this.
There was a voodoo game that was like on the OG Xbox. It was like
Voodoo Vince.
Thank you. Yeah, so he's a voodoo doll, right? So that's because of Crouton. That's the closest thing you're gonna get. This is why when people say, "Oh, the combat is bad," look at everything else that this game did, and more specifically, the song leading up to the boss fight or during the boss fight. I've never played anything like that.
It's really dope, and it changed, right? So it's kind of laid back, little. You'll hear little. I'm not going to say it because I want people to experience, but you know what I mean. When and then when you get into it, it's dramatic. I rip my, I'm not going to go into it, but you get it. I'm not going to do it now, but it really, in each moment, it excels in intensity to when you get to the boss fight. Then it's really intense, the beat or music, right? It's really, really well done. I cannot compliment it any more than what I'm doing. I know some people might be thinking, "Oh, he's really just glazing," as they like to say.
No.
This game deserves the glazing. Damn it!
Yeah.
I'm going to glaze away. I'm sorry. Let me stop.
No, that's
No,
all right.
the game is just well done in the aspect. If I had to rate it for score wise, 8.5 for me out of 10. It's some things that they can definitely improve on. But they did a lot right. And I think people getting hung up on combat or whatever, I think that they're just missing the point. This game is more of an experience than anything else. Yeah. And that's all my piece on it.
No. First of all, Jamie, we'll come to you in a hot second. First of all, Paris Lily, brother, thank you so much for popping in. I know you're always lurking. You're always listening. We definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day. I know that you got the Nintendo Switch thing happening. That is pretty awesome because I know Danny's been posting a lot of a video with him with his hands on, which is awesome. Let's get your thoughts on the launch day. Here it is. It's out for everyone. The haters are gonna hate. That's what they are. And again, they're gonna be disingenuous and not suggesting that's any of us here or anybody in the chat. It just is what it is with social media. Paris, let's get your thoughts on South of Midnight.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate you having me up. And like someone said in the chat earlier, it's like Candyman. You say my name 3 times, I appear. But to answer the Switch 2 thing really quick, yeah, I'm going to go hands-on. They're basically having a similar event to what they did in New York out here in Los Angeles this week. Later this week, I'll go to that and pretty much the same thing everyone did in New York. I'll get hands-on with, all the games and stuff like that. So looking forward to that. And I appreciate Nintendo inviting me to be able to check it out. And we can circle back to switching prices if you want after South of Midnight, but I'll just say this. And obviously Umbra, I was joking when I heard what you were talking about, because I have been critical of the combat just throughout the 2 reviews that I did. But at the same time, the music, the art, the love and care that they put into the dialect, just the ambiance, just everything else about this game. It's a AA game where you are correct that Compulsion literally punched above their weight in those aspects to damn near give you a AAA experience. Like, honestly, the way they handled the music and sound in this game kind of sets a high bar for games moving forward, that you need to kind of reach this when you're doing this type of genre, right? Because that's just how well it was done. My issue with the combat and the traversal is what you do in chapter 1 is essentially what you do in chapter 14. There's really not any diversity to it. Even though, yes, there is a skill tree there, you really don't get any true advantage of leveling up that skill tree until, honestly, I know you've talked about chapter 11 a lot, which was amazing, till really you get past that point, till you're at the end of the game. And I'd even said in one of my reviews, I feel like a chapter's missing. Like, there's a character I won't spoil that I kept waiting to get their story on, and we never got it. And I'm like, where'd this go? And I'm saying this not to be negative, because I love the game. I highly suggest everyone plays the game. It's an experience that you want to have. You're already talking before about, like, there's the lore tab, and there's people that don't. I'm from the South, so people that don't know the South, you're being educated on the legends and the folklore of the South. That lore tab is there for a reason, so that you can learn more and be more educated about it, which is fantastic. I just think if they could have had a little more diversity to the gameplay. I know you gave it a 9 out of 10. Ultimately, I said 7.5, which is not means it's a good game. It's
doesn't mean it's a terrible game.
Yeah. I just think it could have achieved a little more if the gameplay was a little more diverse and there was a little more challenge to it. Because, like I said, once you honestly probably get past chapter 3, you have the rhythm of how it works. So you're kind of rinse and repeating at that point. And I'm not trying to say it as a negative. I'm trying to say it as you need to have that expectation when you go in to go play the game, right?
Yeah.
I keep going back to the music. There is one particular boss, like the bosses have like theme music, right? There's one theme music that I've been humming ever since. That's how good it is. I literally, because I captured all my gameplay, I purposely went back and just rewatched that whole section just so I could hear the music, because that's how good it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I absolutely play South of Midnight. I mean, obviously it's on Game Pass today. If you do want to go purchase it, I believe it's $40. So, $40, so they're not beating you over the head with price or anything. It is definitely worth the price of admission, You will be happy that you played it. It's about a solid 12 to 14 hour experience to go play and go enjoy it. And I will tangent off of this, since I know people love to clip your stuff. They can clip this. I jokingly said last week with the Switch, when the prices and all that came out, I just said at these prices, what did I say? I said at these prices, I'm just saying. And then I just had the Game Pass image, right? And I immediately muted the thread because I know the comments were chaos, and I saw it kind of went viral a little bit. So I'm sure there's people saying all kind of crazy stuff. I said that jokingly last week. I 100% mean it today.
You absolutely you have to, because it is the again. I know I don't sell Game Pass. I don't get a dime for it. But I also, like you, Paris, we run a household. We're married. We have responsibilities, right? You have children. I don't, but the responsibilities still don't change. And what we have to do is we have to be good consumers. And you should put yourself first every time, not half the time, not 3/4 of the time. No, you need to put yourself front and center. And what happened today with the whole Don Matrick, thing from the Xbox 360, Bowser kind of made a knucklehead thing to say. And again, is it gonna hurt them like it hurt the Xbox? I don't know, but
it won't.
Can I address your chat super quick? Just
sure.
Because obviously I come in, people get all fussy when I come in here. But no, my Indiana Jones thing, which I actually gave the same exact score as South of Midnight, is for the same exact reason I gave South of Midnight 7.5. Sure, they did everything fantastic. I didn't like the gameplay. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I thought the AI was really dumb. But clearly the voice acting, everything, it was like an Indiana Jones adventure, probably the third best Indiana Jones adventure out of everything, if you take the movies and all that into account. You guys got to get over these. I hate review score numbers. I hate that I even had to give it one for any game. It's like, listen to what people are saying versus a number. People put way too much stock in a number versus actually listening to what the reviewer is saying, because it's their opinion at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just think that's a weird
what it
thing.
is, Paris. You know what it is too. It's not that. And the thing is, I know that you're a fair guy, and I think all of you all should know that too. But the thing of it is that 7 has been demonized so bad by, and I'm going to say it, our Hood brothers. Just going to be real. They have. I've seen them online doing it all the time for years, and then Xbox guys took a hold of it too. A 7 has been demonized. Basically, a 7 is a 6 or lower in people's eyes. So when you say 7.5. Yeah, when they say that, they think, oh, you're saying it's bad. Even if the connotation is it's a good or a bit above good game, that's what they're hearing. So like 9s and such have been like the thing to get, 9s and 10s. That's what it really is. It's not even your fault. It's literally that the fact that the 7 has been
Paris.
loosened.
Can you give me a mod?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'll do that right now.
That's really what it comes down to. And I'll say this too. I am a bit more forgiving when it comes to review scores. I've noticed that talking with Danny, as you know, Boom. Danny is much more critical than me. I'm much more forgiving on how I talk about things at games. So my 8.5 may not be that for you all in the chat, even though you're hearing that from me. But I still believe, and I hold true that I don't think.
Paris.
And I'll give you this, Paris. What he is right on is that the combat, and the parts where he says where it really does pick up is toward the end. He's not wrong. It's true. How, as far as like what you can really
they are putting like 8 or 9 enemies in that little box.
That too. But I'll also say this too. Put the game on the hardest difficulty, because you mentioned difficulty, Paris. I would say put it on its hardest difficulty. I played it on its hardest difficulty all the way through, and I played through it twice, and that made it much more challenging and made the combat feel like it should, in my opinion. Although normal is decent too, I would say you're going to get your workout on the hardest difficulty with so many enemies coming at you. You're going to have to balance out how you do what you do and everything like that. But in general, I would say like their enemy encounters could have been better worked out. I will say that if I'm going to be critical. I'm going to do that, by the way, when I have my roundtable discussion with brother K Asante, Everborn, myself, Lucius, and I believe Slow-Mo Backslap. So we're going to have that. And I'm going to give that too. But right now, I just want to just kind of sing its praises, because I notice it doesn't get enough of that from what I've been seeing. Most emphasis has been about the combat, And that's not on you, Paris, because I didn't see your talk on it. So
yeah, and I was just joking. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, but I've noticed a lot of people like, oh, the combat is bad, and like people literally been saying it's bad, and I don't think the combat is bad at all. I just think it's normal and it's basic. It's not super I guess detailed, or it could have been ironed out more to include whatever, right? But I think it's a decent combat system. It's just not.
Jamie Moran, I'm apologies. I hate making you last, but you have a lot to say, and obviously we're gonna get to it. So obviously, feel free. Do not rush through your thoughts and your theories, because you just passed chapter 5, and you've been talking about it. You've been tweeting about it, and of course, like many things before for us, I don't know what it is about you and me. We attract the Arkham escapees. Like I have a particular bunch of guys that clip me on a daily basis, and I don't mention names because I'm not gonna give them the power. And I'm like, listen, you're watching the show, you hate watching the show, please don't do that. Do something else more constructive with your life. But if you want to give me a view, that's awesome. And I don't understand it. I don't go out of my way to hurt anybody. I don't embarrass anybody. I don't know why I'm targeted, or more specifically, you're targeted, because all of your tweets for South to Midnight have been fun, and you're excited to play this amazing experience. Well, you know what? Let's get the negativity out of the way, and push it off to the side where it belongs. Let's get your thoughts. And so far, your expectations, have they been met by Compulsion Games' latest in South to Midnight?
Quickly, I have to mention, you mentioned the escapees thing. I post on Twitter like the games I'm currently playing, and especially with my health problems at the minute with the breathing and stuff, like it takes me a while to get through games.
Yes.
And I post clips of each chapter, whatever I'm playing at the time, and no matter what I post, people get angry. And like people say they don't like the game, they say it's mid. Like, look at any replies to my South to Midnight posts, right? There's people angry, right? Now, when I'm on social media and I see someone post a clip from a game I don't like, do you know what I do? I continue to scroll.
Hello, yes, that's what you're supposed to do.
And these people get actively angry, and sometimes it's the same people. Just because I'm playing this game, I've been told that I've been paid off by Microsoft. I've been told I've been paid off by CD Projekt Red, From Software, BioWare. The BioWare thing I can kind of understand, but like everything I like or play, people say that I'm glazing it and whatever. Like the truth is, I don't play games I know I'm not going to like. But fortunately for me, I like a lot of genres. I happen to like Flight Simulator, even though it's the nichest game on the planet, but it's so damn cool. I like RTS games. I love first-person shooters. I love RPGs. I love action-adventure games. Fortunately for me, Xbox happens to have a lot of genres in the works. Anyway, back to South of Midnight. Like, as someone that plays a lot of open-world games that are 60, 70, 80, 90 hours long, this is a refreshing game because I know I'm going to finish it by the end of the week. I'm on I just finished chapter 5 last night. I won't mention any story stuff, but I never really understood what this game was going for. Like, I was always interested in it, but without mentioning spoilers, something happens in chapter 3 that has something to do with a brother and a tree. And when the music kicks in, that's when the game clicked for me. I was like, okay, that's what this game's doing. It's build up to a certain part of a plot point, music kicks in, maybe an event happens or a boss battle, and that's what the game's about. And I love what the game's going for. And if people really do like that art style, there's a feature-length Predator movie coming out this June.
Dude, I can't wait.
Yeah,
yes.
it uses basically the same style, which I'm all in for. But yeah, the game looks fantastic. I always complain about there not being, not enough games that use different art styles on a bigger budget. This does that, which I love. But the combat, like Umber was saying, like I like the combat, but the dodging mechanic I could not stand. Like I talk about Elden Ring all the time. Dodging is 90% of what you do in that game. In South of Midnight, I couldn't stand it. But then I unlocked the double dodge last night. Game changer. So like the combat's way better now. The combat does. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just agreeing with you. Like, yep. Once that double dash it clicked more for me at that point.
Yeah, complete game changer. And when it comes to the combat, the enemy variety, there isn't much. right? You know, I
think
that,
there's 6 or 7 of the
yeah,
Hanes. That's one of my other, not a half point, but one of my criticisms is that they were very, very similar all the way towards the end of the. There were a couple of big brutes in there, but just not enough variety. That's again not a point issue, but definitely like a con, if you will.
You know what I
yeah,
think it is? Just to throw it out there really quick, I think it's the encounter type. So it's like the loop of how they did it,
yeah.
not necessarily that it was even a repetition of that. It's maybe how they implemented it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the gameplay loop of this game is, and this isn't really a spoiler, like you know all the combat zones before you walk into them. So that's that's all kind of upfront. But like maybe it's because I played too many From Software games, but like enemies don't really telegraph their moves. So if you want to dodge like one of the base mobs, like thrash moves, you can't really see it coming until the very last second. Whereas in any other game, enemies do telegraph more. But maybe they could add something in a patch. Maybe there's like a flash of light or something. But like I'm enjoying the combat. I like the free flow movement when you grapple onto the things in the air. I think the movement in the game is fantastic.
Yeah.
But you do play this game for the story, and as someone that knows absolutely nothing about the Deep South, this game is beautiful. This game's beautiful. The story's interesting. The lore's interesting. I like the fact that, and this is one of those games where you can open up the lore and like just look back into things you've done and found. I love that in games because some people have the attention span of a walnut. That can occur to me sometimes. But I'm loving the game. I'm loving the game. It does have its issues, but then again, all games have issues. Even though I'm on chapter 6 now, I will say that if this game is like an 8.5 for me, it wouldn't surprise me. But like Paris was saying, like it is a AA game, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I think the AA gaming space is actually more interesting than AAA.
I agree because again, maybe it's the expectations, Jamie.
Yeah.
Like when someone says AAA game, you think $300 million behemoth, right? So
yeah. I mean, like, and like when it comes to AA games, if people haven't played it yet or seen it, there's a game called Nobody Wants to Die. It's an Unreal Engine 5 cyberpunk noir detective game, and it's possibly the best looking game ever made. And that's a AA game. Like RoboCop Rogue City, I talk about that game every week. AA game.
AA game, phenomenal game. Yes.
And like I think AA games these are the games that we're going to be playing when the game crash happens. It'll happen. But like I'm loving the game, and like I was saying, as someone that plays lots of open world RPGs, I find it extremely refreshing to play a game that is going to be 12 to 14 hours long, because I feel like a lot of games inflate the game length just to try and justify a price. And this game doesn't do that. You know, I'm going through a chapter an hour or so, and it's fun. And when I find the base gameplay of a game fun, such as just running around, jumping from platform to platform, and there's a lot of platforming in this, to me, that's a winner. So far, I'm loving it.
I mean, listen, there's, again, no one's giving passes, because I saw that some people in the chat, you're just giving it a pass because you're an Xbot. No, I think everyone that has come onto the show today, including Paris, has given the pros and the cons. I think you can be critical of a game. I don't think you have to be overly critical of a game. And I think what we've seen specifically in games media, and I'm not trying to run down the aisle of Xbox tax, but I do think that games are reviewed differently. I think Xbox is harshly reviewed versus Nintendo given excuses for, like we're seeing right now with the Switch 2 and the game's pricing. And of course, well, the market leader being PlayStation. And I said this in my review, and I wholeheartedly stand on this hill. I'll die here. It's fine. If this would have been a PlayStation 5 exclusive release, this would have been in Jeff Keighley's Game of the Year talk. And I'm not pointing out Jeff that he did anything wrong. I'm saying that he would be tweeting about it. He would be posting about it. Oh my God, it's the greatest experience I've ever had. I can't believe it. And it would have been 20 posts. I'm just saying that this is not being, I'm not putting on the tinfoil mohawk. I'm literally just saying how the industry is viewed in my eyes. Am I wrong? Well, you know what? Whether I am or not, it's my opinion. And I'm going to stay with it.
No,
But-
I'm going to say I agree with you.
Yeah.
And maybe in time this will get that. We have to see what people say because it's officially released on the 8th, right? Today,
Right.
officially. So maybe people have to get that. But having reviewers that's reviewed it, again, the part that bothers me about it is the overemphasis on the complaints of combat. And I'm not saying that it doesn't deserve any of that, because what Paris said was factually correct in how, you know, it's not super diverse or whatever and things of that nature. He's not wrong. I think though that there is an overemphasis of complaints on that part.
Yeah.
And it's not really a problem, and that the combat and traversal are complementary to the story at hand. It's much like I used What Remains of Edith Finch as an example. There's no combat in that.
Dude.
Yeah, there's no combat in that. You walk around, you experience these stories, you get the emotional experience of what happened with that person and family, right? And people are like, oh, it's masterpiece. Oh, love it. Okay, so then why are you so hard on this? And you're overemphasizing on the combat aspect versus everything else. That's the part I have a problem with. And that's no disrespect to Paris. I don't want anybody to take this and be like, yeah, see, so Paris was, that's not my point. I didn't even know Paris's thoughts until now. And I don't think 7.5 is a bad score, right?
Yeah, but I do agree with you that that 7 and 7.5 has been demonized. 100%.
Yeah, it has been demonized and has lost the weight that it used to have. I would just say this game was an 8.5 to me, and I don't see it being lower than that. So I can respect everybody's opinion on it. I just don't think it's lower than that to me. And for more reasons, because of the standard fare of combat and traversal, I expected that. I didn't expect it to be like, oh, you just did this, you know. And what if I had to really say, hey, what I want them to do in the sequel is Trey Bone said, IGN South of Midnight, too much fun, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the too much water one. But from Zelda. You remember that? Too much water.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? You should have been fired right then and there on the spot. Yeah. But I would say though, like, I want everybody that's hearing this to have, if you haven't gotten into it, play it yourself. Don't, and I said this even
I agree.
I said this in Destin's chat. Destin tried to get his audience to turn on me. I'm gonna call it out because he did. I like Destin, but he definitely, I was like, when he was talking about it, you know, I said this before, you know how somebody can talk about something and they're saying it's a 7 out of 10. I'm giving it a good score, but everything you're saying sounds negative. It sounds like a 4 out of 10 when you talk. That's what he was doing in his live when he was talking about South of Midnight. And I was like, you sound real negative. Like, is the game that bad? I just didn't believe it at that point because I hadn't played it yet. And now that I have, I know that he was wrong, right? At least in my view on how he was talking about it. And even now, he's starting to get some positives about it, that he played more into it. He's like, okay, now I'm liking it, right? So I think he was too quick to judge it that way. But it is what it is. But I'll just say this. The overemphasis on that is what bothered me. And I said, hey, don't take anybody else's thoughts on this. Play it yourself. And you know, I said, I disagree with the 7 out of 10. I don't know, the way you're saying it sounds more negative than the 7 out of 10. You saying 7 out of 10, but it sounds like 4 out of 10. And he's like, well, Umber, 8 guys, Infinite Umber in the chat said 7 out of 10 is bad. I didn't say that. And you see how you try to take my words and twist it to get his audience to be like, oh, shut up, you Xbox fanboy. That's what he was trying to do. I know what he was trying to do. You don't fool me, Destin. Still got love for you, but I didn't like that.